It's open enrollment time again. If you're looking for a new insurance plan, maybe you're looking for a new pharmacy. At Heritage Pharmacy, we pride ourselves on knowing your name and greeting you with a friendly smile. Stop by and see us today. Let us treat you like family.
Hi, Jason.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you today? There you go. Thank you.
All right, guys, welcome back. East Kentucky Tournament Trail Podcast. Tonight, we've got a special guest for you. We've been really looking forward to this one. Like to thank Kevin and Will Boyd for hooking us up with this guy. We're really excited to have him on. One of the best in the business right now. Had an incredible summer last year out on the trail catching bass. So wanted to remind you tonight, our podcast, our giveaway is sponsored by LureNet.com. Got some great stuff there for you. They're going to put us a nice little tackle pack together to give away to you guys tonight. Tag 2 friends, share the post, and you'll be automatically entered for this week's tackle giveaway. So without further ado, everybody knows Mike. Mike's along with us tonight. Me and Mike fished last weekend with the trail guys, but without further ado, we're going to let our special guest introduce himself.
Well, I guess what's up? Am I the special guest?
Yes, sir.
All right. What's up, guys? Justin Lucas here, Major League Fishing Pro, and I'm fishing the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit this year, along with the Bass Pro Tour. So
busy guy.
Yeah, busy guy for sure. I'm at home for a few days, so I'm trying to get some chores done. Springtime cleaning, and wife's wanting a garden, so I've been messing with the garden the last couple of days.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know about, I'm sure COVID's affected your life. I'm an educator, Mike's a pharmacist. COVID's just changed so much. I don't know about you, but I sure hope that things can somewhat return to normal this year.
Oh yeah, I think we all hope that for sure. I'd like to see it much sooner than later. That's for sure.
And I'll be honest with you, Justin. I think that I know it sounds crazy, but COVID may have helped bass fishing in a way last year. I know, speaking for myself, I watch more lives than ever.
Yeah.
And bass fishing is evolving in that way, so it's a really cool time, to follow the sport.
I think it actually helped just the outdoors industry in general, all different forms of that. I know fishing license sales were just absurd last year, like the highest they had ever been by millions. And I thought that was really cool. So, if nothing else, COVID got some people out of the house and, hopefully brought some people into the fishing industry that might have never done it, and it's kind of one of those things, like once you become a fisherman, once people that do it and then just like quit, full, like never come back. So normally once you start fishing, you're going to be back and you're going to be fishing again and for a long time. Good deal.
All right. So one of the things that we try to be passionate about with the East Kentucky Tournament Trail is bringing young kids, into fishing, introducing young kids into fishing. I know, Justin, that's something that you're passionate about also. But, Mike, kind of lead us into this one there just a little bit and, talk about how important, not just for your son. I know, Justin has a son, I have a son, how important that first catch, like you said, or positive experience can have an impact on your life,
For instance, we actually were down your way last week. I took my son and one of his friends, and I feel like getting those kids involved is real important. These kids grow up now, they want to be on the high school bass fishing team, which is, when we grew up that was not something that existed. But like, you've got kids now that are like in elementary school and like that's their goal. And so like, that's become a real thing. And it's great for kids to get involved in the sport. And I'm trying to take these kids that enjoy doing it and take them out there and let them have the opportunities. But what are some things that you do with, like, I don't know how old your son is or what age you mentor, but what are some things you work on in that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, my son, he's 3 right now, so he's not he's not hardcore all about it. He's got his little tackle box, and we've gone to the pond. Luckily, we have a good pond in our family. My buddy says I married up by getting into a good family pond.
Absolutely.
Through the in-laws. But anyway, so that's obviously a great place to take him. But yeah, I mean, I remember being 12 years old when I first started fishing, and just having something to look forward to. Anytime I knew I was going to be able to go, I'd be looking forward to it for several days. And I quit playing baseball and basketball my freshman year of high school just because I wanted to fish. That's all I wanted to do, and I'm not saying it just totally kept me out of trouble, because I wasn't a perfect kid in high school, but it certainly helped me stay on, I feel like a straighter path through high school. And like I said, every weekend I had something to look forward to, because I was going fishing somewhere every weekend, it seemed like. And luckily I had a grandpa that took me and an uncle that took me, and I grew up around the water. My dad was a marine contractor, so he didn't fish. But I grew up around the water. I was always around it. I could always fish if I wanted to. Just go to work with my dad and, go fishing. So, but there's so much available public water. It really is an affordable thing to do, from a beginning standpoint. Once you start getting into brand new bass boats and trucks and all the high end gear, of course, it gets expensive. But just to get started and have a good time, that's why we've seen kayak fishing also blow up the last several years, and it's a great way to get on the water for an affordable price and, reach some fish that you can't get to from the bank. And honestly, maybe even some fish you can't get to in a bass boat. So absolutely. It's kind of a neat deal. And that's really, really taken off. But yeah, I mean, I always encourage young kids. I've got kids always writing me on Instagram. It's amazing. I think back in the day, I'm like, there was a pitcher for the San Francisco Giants that I wrote in like 1993. And I wrote a handwritten letter to this guy with a baseball, and he sent me back a signed baseball. And I had drawn a picture of him. I was 8 years old, but now all these kids just, hit me up on the DM, and I'm like, this is crazy, that they have such easy access. But it's important, because I remember getting that ball back from that guy, the signed ball and an autographed picture, and I'm just like, that was the coolest thing ever. And right now, I can't remember his name. He wasn't even a great pitcher. I just, drew this picture of him on the mound and thought, I'll send it to him and we'll see what he does. And so anyway, it's always important for me to get back to the kids, and I try we have a lot of local kids that fish around here. And so definitely try and help them out, in as many ways as I can.
And, Justin, in following your story, I know when you won Angler of the Year in 2018, I read kind of the transcript of the speech that you gave, and
Sure.
How your grandfather was so supportive, and really pushed you out there. And I'll be honest, that's something that, me, I had a great relationship with my grandfather, and I could relate to. So, I thought that was really cool how, and I felt like that you'd really paid your dues and climbed from, the bottom rung of the ladder, to the success that you've had in your career.
We fished on the very bottom, we actually fished in the under 100 horsepower division of tournaments. That's where we started, in the 16-foot boat with a 90 horsepower. And we didn't know what we were doing, but my grandpa especially, he never even drove the boat or the trolling motor. He bought it when I was, I guess, 12 or 13 years old. And he was just, he was a truck driver, and he was your blue collar guy. He'd work Monday through Friday and get the weekend off and take me fishing. And he didn't even know how to tie a knot really, but as long as we were spending time together, that was all that mattered to him. And I loved it. Those are the best memories I have. And yeah, man, but I appreciate, just looking back on those early tournaments. And I remember us winning $641 in our first tournament that we won. And I'm like, my grandpa gave me, I think he gave me like $150, but I was 13 working at a pumpkin patch, and I was getting paid like $5 an hour under the table. So to get $150 for a day of fishing, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. This is what I want to do for a living, Awesome. So yeah, the guy, a lot of people think that professional fishermen are just, they're just handed this. And what I've seen more often than not is the guys that, do come from maybe some money or maybe you think it's handed to them. Their passion and their drive might not be as strong as the guys below them anyway. And I think that passion and drive ends up taking over, if you truly do really, really love it. So it's, of course, not a bad thing to come from money. There's nothing wrong with that. But you still have to have that passion and drive and that desire to want to succeed at this deal.
And I think authenticity is so important on social media. And one of the things that I've noticed that you do, I love the little series with you versus Matt Lee, and you guys just kind of, you're just out hamming it up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it was in the aluminum boat. You know what I mean? So it was a whole different scenario. For anybody that hasn't watched that, you got to go check out Justin Lucas's YouTube channel because it's awesome. He does some great stuff. So I know I'm a small time creator, but I thought that stuff was awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And Matt Lee, I mean, he's just a funny character, right? I mean,
people don't know how funny he is, but he's hilarious.
You guys playing defense, casting over each other and all that. I really enjoyed it. I did. I
got to do more of those, man. I did one with Justin Atkins too.
Yeah.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. What I don't enjoy is editing it. So I got to find somebody to edit it for me. That's what I
see. That's what I was going to ask you. Like, I teach media, computer science, all that stuff. So, like I fish and then I try to create a little bit. So I didn't know, like on your end, it looks like you're doing the GoPros, a lot of it yourself.
Yeah, I do it all myself right now. I put myself through, I tell my wife, YouTube University last summer, because I'm like, man, all these YouTube fishermen, like, I got to do this. It's something I got to do for my sponsors just to keep them happy, because that's the direction everything's going. And just like electronics in your boat, you don't want to get left behind. If you're not on the forefront of that, people are going to pass you. And I was definitely not on the forefront of YouTube, but I at least understand how to run the cameras. I understand frame rates, what to record in, how to save all the footage, transfer it. I can do all that, and I can edit it. I just don't enjoy it. I didn't become a pro fisherman to sit on the computer for 8 hours and edit my fishing videos. I just want to go fishing, but it's all good. I've learned, and I've got some help on the way with that stuff. So hopefully I can actually start doing some more of it.
You need a guy. Justin, need a guy.
I know. I think I got a guy right now. We'll see how it works out.
Mike laughs at me because I battle GoPros. Saturday was one of those days, and because you fool with it. There's days that the cameras are going to give you trouble. I mean, I don't care if you got them all powered, no batteries.
Yeah.
The weather, it throws you curveballs. It's a headache sometimes.
It is, man. It's a lot of extra work, but I've got to the point where, like, I've ran them in 3 tournaments now this year, and I really enjoy it because I know that I look back on my career and, man, there's so many things I wish I would have caught on a GoPro. And so when it starts to get annoying to me, it used to get annoying to me to try and sit there and run them and worry about them. And now I'm kind of like, dude, it's worth it. You don't know what's going to happen. And then you don't know what's going to happen 2 minutes from now. So when I think about it like that, and then when, I get good feedback like from you and other people from these tournaments, I've started filming the tournaments this year, and I'm getting good feedback from people. So when people are enjoying watching it, I know my sponsors are happy with the content, and I get to look back at the footage and it helps you like just go back through those days. And it's so fun. I always just sometimes lay in bed at night trying to go to sleep, just looking at old pictures and think about, oh yeah, I remember how I caught those 2 fish I'm holding up right there, and think about how that day transpired and everything. That's what I love about fishing, is just the progression of each day, and is this going to be a good day? Is it going to be a bad day? Like, what do I have to do today to make it a good day? Or like the other day at Smith Lake, I was struggling. It's a lake I know really well, and I was struggling, and I was fired up at the end of the day. I caught a 2-pounder, and I knew I was going to get a big check because of that. And I felt like I had won that tournament almost, and I finished 52nd. But that was my battle that week. It was just trying to get a check that week because I wasn't on the fish to win. And so when I kind of came through, it was a great day for me and a great fish catch. And watching the footage of it, I'm like, yeah, dude, that was a good move. That was, gives me confidence that I'm doing the right thing, even though I got my butt kicked.
I think that's something that I don't like. You're talking about going back and watching it, and that's something Jason does all the work. I mainly just fish. I'm blessed in that aspect, but we always go back and watch it. And just like you're talking about fishing with your grandfather, just imagine like when we were growing up, like our kids will have the ability to watch when they fish with us, and like what you would give to be able to watch yourself fish in a tournament with your grandpa or your dad or whatever, just for one, 10 minutes just to watch it. It would be so awesome.
That would be really cool. Right now, I can't even get my 3-year-old. He won't sit on the couch and watch my YouTube stuff. He's more interested in other things right now. So
he will. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
Hey, so, you kind of set this one up for us, Justin. We were talking about electronics. I followed you on Lake Erie last summer, and I know that, you seemed to be leaning heavily on electronics to find fish and stay on those fish. And honestly, you kind of unlocked a new part of the lake. I've been going for 25 years. I've never fished out there where you fished. And I think it's just a testament to how good you guys are, when it comes to going somewhere and unlocking a body of water. So I guess my question to you would be, when you first go somewhere new and you're really breaking that body of water down, what features of your electronics are most important to you?
I mean, really, probably the most important thing if you're trying to break down a body of water is map and side imaging. Those are the two, hands down, most important things. And then, of course, once you get on the trolling motor, 360 or Livescope, either one of those, hugely beneficial when you're fishing offshore. But fishing's it's interesting now that electronics they're so important, and it looks like all of us we make it look like you need to go out there with 5 graphs, and really you don't. We do, because it just helps us break things down even a little bit faster. But if it's a body of water that you're more comfortable with or familiar with, or you just fish, you fish on the weekends locally and you've been fishing these lakes for years, I don't suggest to somebody to go out there and buy 5 graphs. I mean, I probably wouldn't do that, you know what I mean? But for me, like in practice, I have 2 graphs at the console, and I want those 2 graphs, and I use one strictly for mapping and one strictly for side image and down image. But I could easily go back and forth between mapping and side image and down image on the one. But I've only got 2 days. I have to be as efficient as possible everywhere we go in practice. And so that's why you see me, Wheeler, Rose, a lot of these guys with 5 graphs now, but most everybody has at least 3, if not 4, this day and age, professionally speaking, and you just, I think a good amount is 3. You can do a lot with 3. And if it was me, I'd have 1 at the console and 2 up front. And I think that you can do a lot with 1 at the console. And, I'm a Humminbird guy. I buy my stuff now. I don't work with them anymore. So I'm running Humminbird and Garmin, and that's what I like to use. But it's also like user interface. I told somebody the other day, this is what I'm used to, and he said, "Yeah, it'd be like switching iPhone to Android." I'm like, you nailed it, because if I went back to a Lowrance or a Garmin, I wouldn't even know really what to do. I can turn my Garmin on for Livescope, and that's about it. But other than that, I don't know how to get around and use it for anything else. In a Lowrance, I'm way lost on those things. So, it's what I'm comfortable with, and it works for me. So I'm like, I don't want to change anything, and I'm just going to I think I'm just going to keep buying my stuff and just using what I'm comfortable with, and not be tied to anybody. If I need to change and move something, it'll be no problem to do it. So.
Mike, I know, we had a conversation about Livescope last weekend, and that was one of the questions that we had for Justin. So kind of run with that.
So Justin, so what I always wonder, we both have Garmin and Livescope. Ours is hooked to our trolling motor, and so it's wherever the trolling motor is moving, the Livescope is moving. So like if you're out on Erie and you're on Livescope and the wind's blowing and the waves are, and you want to spot lock on this spot, like how are you using Livescope then? Would you go with an independent setup to where it's free from the trolling motor? Is that a setup that you need?
You maybe could, but that's where, to be honest, that's where the 360 really comes.
That's what I was thinking as you were saying that.
Yeah, the 360 is your floodlight, and the Livescope's your laser. You know,
I gotcha.
That's the best way to explain it, and I hope that a lot of people don't do that, because at least on our level, I hope these guys stay sponsored by people and keep using their sponsors only, because I think there's a big benefit fishing offshore and being able to have both of those for sure. Like I'd rather have, if I could only have 3 graphs, I'd have the one at the back and I'd have 2 up front and I'd have one of each of those, you know, and I'd rather have that than 2D at this point, you know?
Yeah.
So we need to get a hummingbird is what he's saying. I mean, I need to go get a hummingbird. I got it.
So Justin, you know, talking about preparing for an event, you know, I would think in this day and age, we're all similar age. I think me and Mike are a few years older than you, but YouTube's a factor in that way too, right? When you prep, how do you use YouTube and maybe the good and bad information that's out there these days when you prepare for it?
Yeah, YouTube's tough. I wouldn't say I use much on YouTube to prepare for a tournament. I spend most of my time just looking at tournament results and then looking at Google Earth. Those are the 2 things that, because, you know, I might like try and pick out some, I would say like words, you know, places that are, or types of bait, you know, if it's chatterbait, I'll read tournament stuff, you know, chatterbait, lipless crankbait. Okay, there's obviously something to a chatterbait and lipless crankbait on this lake. That's all I need to know. But my main focus is, you know, we can tell by watercolor and stuff, like what type of stuff is probably going to work there. So we're not so much worried about what somebody's saying on YouTube or what the baits, you know, what the hot bait is or whatever. Pro fishermen honestly keep things really simple, and they just focus on like finding the right section of the lake, finding the right spots, and the fish are going to bite something they have in their boat with one of the few colors they carry. You know, we don't carry many colors at all. We try and keep things really, really simple from the guys that I've seen that are successful at it, you know.
And I think that's one thing for somebody that's just getting into fishing that can be overwhelming. You know, you go in a tackle store and there's just aisles and aisles of thousands of baits, you know, and that's one thing that me and Mike have tried to do is fish what we're good at, you know, because there are so many things that you could throw.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just rigged up for Rayburn and I tried to break it down to just a few things, you know, like I might have 10 rods rigged up, but that includes, you know, 3 top waters, a couple flipping rods, a couple wacky rigs, and I think I threw a swim jig and a chatterbait in there. And that's pretty much it. Like, I think my best events, I go in like focused on what I want to do and try and make that happen. I mean, look at John Cox at Smith Lake this last week. You know, he goes in there, he knows he's going to go fish shallow. He didn't get sucked into live scoping down in the clear water or anything, and he wins the tournament, you know, doing something that no one thought you were going to win the tournament, swimming a black and blue jig at Smith Lake for a largemouth, you know, and I think there's something to be said about that.
I think they asked him where his live scope was, and he said it was still in the truck. He hadn't rigged it up yet.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I swear I saw that spot on social media.
It'll probably be in there the rest of the year.
Yeah. So, Justin, you know, we're going to wrap this up. We appreciate you taking a minute, spending some time with us.
Yeah, of course.
We do this, you know, just as a periodically every month to try to grow the sport in our area. You know, just seems like the rest of the country, like we spoke about earlier, you know, bass fishing is really taking off. So we appreciate your time. We can't thank you enough for spending a few minutes and talking fishing with us.
No problem. I appreciate it too. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Good luck this year, man.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good luck. Have a great year, Justin. Thanks.
You too.
Heritage Pharmacy.
It's open enrollment time again. If you're looking for a new insurance plan, maybe you're looking for a new pharmacy. At Heritage Pharmacy, we pride ourselves on knowing your name and greeting you with a friendly smile. Stop by and see us today. Let us treat you like family.
Hi, Jason.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you today? There you go. Thank you.